Arco Linux was, well, used to be an Arch-based Linux distribution. I say was because just a few days ago, the project officially announced its shutdown for strictly personal reasons. Nothing dramatic, to be honest. This is something that happens all the time in the open source world. Projects are born, they grow, and then they disappear. Especially when we're talking about small distributions maintained by a single person, which, by the way, I love. But it's also something every user should really keep in mind when choosing to rely on very small or niche projects. Because yeah, sure, people using Arco Linux will probably have no big issues moving to another Arch-based distro, or maybe switching directly to pure Arch, just by changing the repositories or reinstalling everything from scratch. Easy enough. But still, it's a situation where you need to move, adapt, and have at least some technical awareness. And I think this should always be said very clearly. I personally love trying weird, crazy experimental distros. It's one of the best things about the Linux world. But let's be honest, when you choose a tiny distro, with a tiny community and a single developer behind it, you always need to accept the possibility that one day it might just vanish. Now let me be even clearer. I have nothing against derived distributions. They can absolutely make sense. They really can. But when it comes to Arch-based distributions, honestly, I struggle much more to understand their real purpose. Because Arch is not Debian. Debian is a very conservative distro with slow release cycles, not so up-to-date software, a minimal installer, and a very strict philosophy about free and non-free packages. It's natural that so many Debian-based derivatives exist to bring Debian in new directions. More modern, more user-friendly, more flexible. But Arch is already a distribution where you can do absolutely anything. It's rolling release, it's always up to date, it's fully customizable, and for a few years now we even have Arch install, which makes the installation process incredibly easier, even for beginners. So the real question is, why should I use an Arch derivative when I can just use Arch? What does a derivative really offer me? A prettier desktop theme? 2 extra system tools? A script I could find on GitHub in 5 minutes? Is that enough to create a new distribution? To justify a whole separate project? Honestly, I'm not so sure. Of course, there are always exceptions. Endeavor OS, for example, looks like a good distribution to me. It has an active community, some useful tools, a very clean approach. Garuda Linux went crazy with graphics and built a very strong identity, but so many other Arch-based derivatives are simply Arch with a different wallpaper. Nothing more. Nothing you couldn't easily do yourself with 10 minutes of configuration and a quick read of the Arch wiki. And this is not meant to be mean or snobbish. It's just an observation. Because at the end of the day, Arch is already the distro for people who want to build their own system exactly the way they like it. That's the whole point of Arch. So why would I use a derivative that tries to simplify or wrap something that is already perfectly free and open? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are real, concrete, technical reasons that I don't know or understand. And that's exactly where I want to hear from you in the comments. Are you using an Arch-based derivative? Which one and why? What does it really offer you compared to pure Arch? Because for me, honestly, if I want to use Arch, I use Arch. And if I want a distro that gives me everything ready out of the box without any effort, well, I'm probably not looking for Arch at all. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys will change my mind. Thanks for watching.